Welcome to the next video of the National Educational Cycle for OGX. This is the video about OGX Sales First Contact and gives you all information about how and what to communicate to the EPs when talking to them for the first time. Therefore, in general, keep in mind that you might be the first person ever for them they are talking to from ISAC, yeah? And in everything you do and in everything you communicate to them, keep in mind that you represent ISAC, and for them, you are ISAC. So whenever they talk to ISAC or about ISAC, they are talking about you. So you might still be familiar with this one, what I showed you before. So from here, you see that you are the first person they actually talk to from ISAC. So also always keep in mind that whenever you talk to them, they are not part of ISAC. So they don't understand our ISAC abbreviations. They don't understand our ISAC language. So always keep this in mind. What we talk about now is this first part here before continuing with all the processes that come afterwards. So therefore, always start with an introduction. Don't be an anonymous number calling them without even introducing themselves. So keep in mind that introduce yourself, but also introduce ISAC. Confirm that they actually signed up to go abroad, that they understood what they signed up for, and always try to find out how they heard about ISAC. Because from that, you will also see how much do you still have to explain and so on. But in general, always ask questions and always listen. It's in sales, it's all about listening. So listen, try to understand how they heard about ISAC, what they already know, and especially what they have in mind when they signed up. What is their expectation? So always make sure to ask questions and listen, especially to what they have to say and what they have in mind. Then depending on what they tell you, if they want to go for an internship, for teaching, or for volunteering, you will follow up accordingly. But don't just do what they tell you, what they're interested in, but always try to ask questions to find out if they are really eligible for all of these opportunities. And how to do this, I will tell you now. First of all, introduce ISAC, giving them the brief information that, we're an international youth-run organization, not-for-profit. We're a leadership organization. We're there to develop youth through challenging experiences. And of course, we're striving for peace and fulfillment of humankind's potential. All of this just adjusted to the situation, depending on how much they already know. Depending on what exactly they are interested in, you can highlight the one or the other side, but you don't have to cram all of this and just reproduce it, but adjust it to the situation. In general, to have more an overview about what ISAC is about, you can always check again the ISAC way that is linked here. All right, so coming to the different opportunities. Whenever you talk to an EP, most of them will tell you, I'm interested in an internship, because who's not interested in getting paid for what they do, right? So, but then it's even more important to check if they're actually eligible for an internship. So therefore, first question is always to find out how old they are. Are they still between 18 and 30 years old? Because if you're not between 18 and 30 years old, you cannot go abroad with ISAC. Trying to find out if they are a student, because what we said before, that internships are mainly for graduates. And also understanding their background, which course did they study. So to see if they actually fit the backgrounds, then you can see on the right that are a requirement for the global talent opportunities. And also see why they actually want to do an internship, especially if something of the questions before is not fulfilled and they can't go for an internship. Try to find out what was their idea. Why did they want to have an internship? Because the same reasons they are giving you why they want to go for an internship might also be a good reason to go for a global volunteer experience. So if someone tells you, I want to get experience and I want to improve my CV, this might also apply when they go for a volunteering opportunity with Global Volunteer. Then what else is important to find out is if they already have some kind of work experience. Because as we said before, global talent requires a minimum of 2 to 3 years of work experience in the field they want to apply for, which you can see on the right again. Then if someone fulfills all of these requirements, it's important to give them the basic information about global talent, which is that it's a professional internship that is based on their study background. The duration can depend from short term to long term, so from 6 weeks to up to 1.5 years. And also the pricing is different based on that. Then there will be a salary for mid and for long term, and sometimes also for short term, but for sure accommodation will be provided for short term, sometimes even for mid and long term. And then also, of course, that we provide preparation and a debrief. And in general, it's important to set the right expectations, especially for internships, because internships are hard to get, especially if the requirements are not fulfilled, then it's almost no chance to get accepted. But even if the requirements are fulfilled, it's very hard because we have a lot of competition. A lot of people want to get a paid internship, but we also just have limited opportunities, especially since the EPs are restricted to go to countries where the visa requirements can be fulfilled and because of language barriers. So therefore, also already give them the right solutions. Don't just demotivate them with giving them such hard expectations, but also provide them with solutions, telling them, for example, that we have opportunities in different regions and countries, so they should be open to them and not just say, I want to go to this specific country, but really be open to different opportunities in different countries. They have to be fast with applications. Some of the opportunities might just be open for a few days. So whenever opportunities are posted in the WhatsApp group, they have to be as fast as possible to apply to them, not just a week later, because the opportunity might already be filled, or at least even if it's still open, the shortlisted candidates might have already been sent to the company. And also they should not get frustrated. As I said, it's hard to get an internship, so therefore they might need to apply again and again and again. And just because they did not get accepted doesn't mean that their application was bad. It can just be that 100 EPs applied for one same opportunity, and they were maybe shortlisted as the second person, but then there was just one opportunity, one slot. So tell them to not get frustrated. At the same time, also, if they always get rejected for global talent, it might be a good idea to first look into a volunteering experience to improve their CV, to make it more interesting, but also to improve soft skills, to give some, like to attend some trainings, maybe even we have for youth skilling program, career fair, and so on, for them to improve their skills when it comes to CV writing, when it comes to interviews, but also in general. And with this also comes that they should work on their CV. We provide workshops through YSP, Youth Skilling Program, but also we have this supporting booklet giving information about the how to write your CV, and then also the opportunity to upload the CV where they will receive feedback and they have to resubmit their CV until it's getting approved. And then, of course, also to regularly check emails and be responsive so that processes can work without any problems and interruptions. Then also important to keep in mind the next steps. Don't just talk to them during the first call and end the call with goodbye, see you, but always make sure whenever you talk to an EP, no matter if it's via phone call, no matter if it's via texts, always make sure that you give them a next step. And even if it's just something you do, tell them that you will do it and then follow up on it. So what you should always end your first contact call with, if someone is interested and eligible for global talent, tell them to work on their CV. Prepare the CV and submit it on this link, as well as tell them to fill their profile on isec.org. What you will do, on the other hand, is to add them to the WhatsApp group for them to get information about what new opportunities are available. Send them the GT EP booklet, but also send them the process support booklet and the CV submission form that you can see on the left side, the ISEC CV check. And then what you will also do afterwards, no need to tell this the EP, but you always do it after being in contact with an EP, update everything as notes in the EP profile on Expa. How to do this, we will still learn, but keep in mind that you always update it there, because right now you might just have 1 or 2 EPs, but with time you will have a lot of EPs and you will totally get confused which EP told you whatever. And it's very, very customer centric if you can even write down some personal information you get from them. So if you know that someone told you, right now I'm not available, can you call me back in 2 days, because right now my grandma is sick and I have to care for her. And then whenever you call them back and you ask them, how is your grandma doing, you can just build a very close relation to the EPs, and they will trust you way, way more. Even if they come back to you after half a year, or someone else already talked to them and gave them some information on whatever, when you ask them, come back to it, hey, by the way, I remember you studied accounting, how was this and that? Even if you don't remember, Expa will remind you. That's why it's very important to write down as much detail as possible about every EP. All right, then the same things basically apply for Global Teacher, since it's also an internship. So also again, check if someone tells you, I want to go for a teaching opportunity. Are they between 18 and 30 years old? Are they students, or are they already done, since we're mainly looking to graduates? Because you need to have work experience. What did they study? Do they fulfill the requirements of having the study background of education, languages, or any subject they will be teaching? So for example, maths or any other sciences, sports, whatever. And as always, listen and try to understand their reasons, what they are interested in, what they're looking for, why do they want to go. Because same here, it's hard to get a teaching internship, but we also have a lot of teaching opportunities for volunteering. So their expectations for a Global Teacher internship might already be fulfilled with Global Volunteer, which will be way, way easier to get. Exactly the requirements, I think we covered this before. It's not different to Global Talent. And then also the expectations are the same. As I said before, it's hard to get. So also see how we can convert someone who is interested in Global Teacher to a Global Volunteer experience whenever possible. Even if they fulfill the requirements, they might still already be interested in a Global Volunteer experience, because their expectations will already be fulfilled by Global Volunteer. The same next steps, just that we have different EP booklets based on our color coding with Global Talent and Global Teacher. So make sure to always send the right booklet, because then it also has the right value proposition and everything. And for Global Volunteer, it's a bit different, but still we need to make sure that the EP is between 18 and 30 years old. We can't approve anyone that is below 18 and older than 30. Then the question here will be, where do they want to go? And there, always give the opportunity. Do you want to stay, or like, is it possible for you to stay within East Africa, or do you really, really want to go outside of East Africa? Because the important thing here is we don't have so many opportunities outside of East Africa, especially if someone is interested in going to Europe, our opportunities are very limited. Plus, the visa will be expensive and hard to get. Travel cost will be way, way higher if you need to fly instead of taking a bus and so on. And then also find out whenever someone is interested in going outside of East Africa, make sure to ask them about the region, not specific countries, because as I said, it's very hard to in general find opportunities outside of East Africa. So if we limit them to, or if we let them limit us to specific countries, the opportunities will be very, very limited, and the chances are high for them to get disappointed. But if we have a region they are interested in, like Americas, Europe, other parts of Africa, outside of East Africa, or Asia, then it's way easier for us to find a suitable country there that is actually offering incoming Global Volunteer. Then also, which SDGs is the EP interested in? Sustainable Development Goals. Don't just ask them which SDG, because they will not understand. But try to explain. You always have the Global Volunteer EP booklet by hand, so you can always check there what opportunities we have, and then just briefly explain. We have opportunities in good health and well-being, quality education, and so on. And then you can just name the categories and ask them what they're interested in. But then all of this, they will also be asked when filling the GV interest form. So just give them a brief overview, but same as before, listen to really understand them and be able to help them and note down additional information. It's also important to understand when they will be available to travel so that you can find suitable opportunities. Important is here for volunteering, there's no previous knowledge needed or anything, no further requirement other than being 18 and 30, between 18 and 30. Remind them of duration, 6 to 8 weeks, nothing less, nothing more. And as of right now, we have the administrative cost to be paid to AIESEC in Uganda of 100 USD. However, there will, most of the cases, be a project fee that applies in the host country, depending on the opportunity they go for. Accommodation is usually provided, and we always have a preparation and debrief. So these are the information that you should always give the EPs in the first contact, even though it's written in all booklets and everywhere, but still direct communication is the best to also make them understand properly. As always, end with next steps. So add them to the volunteering group on WhatsApp, send them the GVEP booklet, and send them the GV interest form. So make sure that you tell them to read through the booklet and to fill this form. Give them always a deadline. Otherwise, you don't have a reason to come back to them. Yeah, always ask them, okay, is it possible for you to fill it until Monday? Yeah, so to always have a deadline. And then on Monday, you come back to them and you ask them, hey, did you read through it? Do you have any questions? Did you fill it? Or I did not see you filling it. Did you have any problems? How can I help you? To be there to provide support. And then, as always, update EXPA, update all information you got from the EP. Also about their expectations, why they want to go for such kind of opportunities. Perfect. Also, set the right expectations with them for the process. Tell them from the beginning on that. Not all countries offer volunteering projects. So if someone wants to go to Europe and they want to go to the Netherlands, it's not realistic because the Netherlands, they don't provide incoming global volunteers, so no volunteering opportunities in specific countries, especially not for all sustainable development goals. So if someone is really into doing something with gender equality, it might not be there in the country they have in mind or in the region they have in mind. So we just have limited opportunities, especially outside of East Africa. Within East Africa, it's pretty easy to find opportunities, especially in a big variety. And then we always have to consider the visa requirements. So the choices they will have if they want to go outside of East Africa are just very, very limited due to visa and due to limited amount of projects. Therefore, also here, offer solutions. Don't just demotivate them. Tell them to be open for different regions and countries, and that's more about the experience and about the country they go to. Tell them what they will learn from going abroad. Show them different experience reports and EP stories from former EPs you can find on our social media websites, and connect them to this. And also tell them to be open for different projects. It's more about the experience than the region or the project. And they also here have to be fast with applications because a lot of EPs might apply to the same opportunities since, as we said, especially overseas, they are very limited. And of course, be responsive. Whenever things change, tell them they should inform us because we are also volunteers. You can be that transparent. We are volunteers and we don't want to waste our time. So if they change their mind, if they won't be in a position to go anymore or whatever, they should be honest with us, be responsive, and make life easier for us because we don't get paid for this and we also just want them to have a good experience. In general, it's important to always build trust with them. The faster you are, the more trust they will have in you because whenever they will be abroad and something is happening there, they want you to be there to support them. So if you take forever responding when they are still in Uganda, why should things change? And you will be responding fast if they have any problems over there. So always make sure to build trust from the beginning by remembering things, even if you don't remember them, write them down so you can be reminded and follow up on them. If you tell them, I will send this to you, send it to them. Otherwise, they don't trust you. If you tell them, okay, let's talk again on Monday, then talk again to them on Monday. So they will always be able to trust you. Especially for Global Volunteer, it's all about trust. It's a challenging environment they will go into. And if you don't have anyone supporting you in this, it's hard. And then always have next steps. Don't just end a call. Don't just stop texting, but always end with next steps for you to tell them what you will do next and tell them what you expect from them next. Please do this until giving them a deadline. When always keeping this in mind, you don't have any problems. Here are always, again, the next steps. So these are all the things that should be done to be able to continue with the process, to move on with the customer flow. And always keeping in mind, updating EXPA is super crucial. That's it from my side about the first contact and in general about how to sell OGX to the EPs, especially during the first contact. In case of any questions, as always, feel free to come back to me for questions and for trainings or whatever.